Poke in. No, we'll lose listeners. We'll lose them. Hello, climbers, and welcome to Season 3 of Climbing Mount CMMC.
Have you guys had the experience yet? I mean, you've been doing the CMMC stuff long enough, I'm sure, that you've had people come around full circle, where you've had the whole prospect thing 2 or 3 years ago, and they did the thing where they're like, we're not sure if we're going to need this. And now they're reappearing, and they're like, hey, we found out we need this, and we need it now. And I'm like, hey, we talked like years ago. We told you this was coming. You need to make action. Like, you can't have it tomorrow. I'm sorry. Now the timeline is reset because you waited.
Yeah, I haven't had any bring a quote to me yet. That's not happened. So Hannah, how old were you when you first started working with your dad? There's a reason why I'm asking this, but go ahead.
Working with or hanging out at security events? That's
I don't know. Well, maybe both. Maybe both.
Yeah. Let me quickly Google child labor laws in Georgia, and I'll get back to you.
I think he's trying to help himself with this question, but yeah.
And it was the hardest business thing that I've ever done. And it took us 8 months on a straight shot, but we've been working on it for like 2+ years. Mm-hmm. But once we sort of got aligned for the final push, it took us like 8 months to do it. And we're IT people, professionals.
Yeah.
And so it is no small feat to get that set up. And so you don't want to be that parent on Christmas. You're like, oh, I think I want to get him the, Tickle Me Elmo or the whatever.
I think it was discontinued out
of terrorizing children.
You chose that gift out of all.
Yeah, it was a big one. Okay. When I was younger, you go through MSP has got their level 2. It's great, but did you ask them? Are they going to be sitting in the chair right to your right to answer the questions when it comes time for the audit?
Yeah.
Are you prepared to have that conversation?
Right. If you are, great. But if not, that's not good.
Right. If I go to court, I want my attorney talking more than me because that's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Right. I want to talk the least amount because there's a greater chance I'm going to screw up and say something I shouldn't.
I dig only as much as I have to.
Yeah.
And, when I'm preparing companies for assessment, I'm always like, have your evidence, just totally nailed down and show that to me and stop talking.
Don't talk too much and put yourself in a hole. Yeah.
Right. Because then I have to do more. And I'm like, just, show that you're meeting the practice.
It was a good thing, actually, that Hannah was we were, physically together when they were doing the assessment, because there were a few things that I didn't necessarily agree with their interpretation of a practice. And Hannah had to pinch me and be like, shut up, Dad. They're telling you it's trending met. Just shut up.
Take the win.
You don't have to teach everybody.
This is not an academic exercise. This is... We're not having a chit chat.
That's exactly what I do in sales calls. I'll text them, I'll be like, Bobby, they don't want to hear more about this. Just stop talking. They seem to understand it. Okay, everything's fine.
I know I really went off the rails if after the sales call, she calls me immediately. I'm like, oh no.
Oops.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough having a nerd for a dad, isn't it?
Yeah. You're just really, I get it, Chris. You're passionate about what you do for a living.
And so if you do incidentally stumble upon something like the CUI registry, it's not well organized or laid out or intuitive. And so you might visit that website and still not get the information you need. The reality is, in order to truly understand even a single category of CUI, you have to drill down into one or more laws or regulations and consume those documents just to even know which way is up. And so when you get into these conversations, the minimum body of knowledge you need to have digested to even be able to open your mouth on the topic of CUI is a built-in delay fuse to being able to act. And so, I don't want to paint a picture that these topics are unapproachable.
Right.
But they are irreducible. You have to spend a minimum amount of time.
They're unapproachable adjacent.
To say, oh, I get it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's so easy to get overwhelmed by all of the documentation. That's one of the things when I talk to somebody new about CMMC, they're like a CRM and an SSP and CMMC
What are all
and
these
L2
acronyms?
and
Get it in my
what does all
face.
of this even mean?
And some people that I'm talking to that are like, "Oh yeah, we're ready. We're almost there. We're at control 100. I think we're at 110." And then I'm like, "All right, well, we'll help you with your CRM." They're like, "What's a CRM?" I'm like, "Oh no, that's not good."
I always tell my story. The first DibCAC I was in, 2021, and we were putting forward a company that was all Microsoft 365 cloud, all Entra ID, what was Azure AD at the time, Intune, all that sort of stuff in GCC High. And the DibCAC team we got came on site because this was in the days when, hey, this was all on site. There was no remote. Their first question, literally, when we sat down and got into the technical, was like, all right, so tell us about your Active Directory. Like, they just came with that pre-built bias, and I was like, well, the funny thing is, hey, we don't have one. And we spent a good part of the first day explaining our architecture, because this was a team that was very used to things like FedRAMP, and they were internal auditors primarily in their old jobs, so they're like used to big enterprise systems, and we're like, hey, this is a 200-person company. We don't have servers. We don't have anything on-prem. You guys are here for kind of no reason. It's a nice office. It's in San Diego, California. So I was like, hey, we all got out of, our places where it's probably a lot colder and came to the nice weather. But
MSPs wanted this to happen. They want the help, because to be able to do this for multiple different clients at the same time is a lot to do manually on your own for many things. And so to be able to have people stepping into this space is, in our opinion, very important and very needed. And we ask these people, please come into this space and help us. But you still have to make sure that you cross your T's, dot all your I's, because you do not want to put your clients in jeopardy. So yeah,
that is so true. Like, we're begging for vendors to come in, but when they come in, we're like, wait a minute.
Wait.
You're like, now that you're here, you're gonna have to go through this strip search.
Yeah.
It's like you're having this party and you're begging people to show up. The moment they walk in, you're going to strip search them.
You look at something and you feel, this is great, I don't need to scrutinize this. Or, yeah, I've looked at this document 30 times over the last month. Like, yeah, there's no issues with this. Like, let me just write down, it's fine. The assessors don't know any of that context. They don't have those biases, so they come in and they look at it and they go, what's that over there? Why does it say that? I don't think that's a good implementation. And you're like, what? Why are you stealing candy from my proverbial baby over here? I'm upset. Yeah. But that's exactly what they're there for.
There's freaking superpower. It's so annoying. Like when we did our mock assessment, I kid you not, Kaylee, literally the first control, the first policy.
Access management.
Bring up our access management policy, and we did not notice that the year was off. The date was right, but the year was wrong.
What do you like to call that? You like to call that the human factor.
Yeah, it just, dang if it didn't punch me right. And like literally the first thing. And I'm like, we reviewed that document numerous times.
Yeah.
And the first thing, and just 1 second, he's like, that date's wrong. And we're just, both of us face palm mentally. I could see Adam like, what the? But I mean, the policy was fine, but that's just an
did
example.
triple check that getting into our real assessment, because New Year's occurred over then as we were updating the policies, and I'm over here like, did I get the year wrong?
You forgot what year it was.
No, those dates were right then.
Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube to stay up to date on the latest CMMC news. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and listen out for the next one. But until then, keep on climbing.